What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gablim, wearing the purple today. Bakit kaya? And Mr. Maui Yap.
Pink. It's pink,
Pink ba
bro.
yan?
It's pink.
Mukhang purple from my screen. Akala ko Lakers, celebrating the Lakers picks or signings and trades. But we'll talk more about that later. Gab, anong gagawin natin today?
Uh, we are gonna grade some trades. And before we get started, I do wanna say this lang. The biggest winner of all these signings and the free agency season are the Clippers, Sammy, Maui. Kasi they got Dick.
Hala ko kung... I thought you were serious.
Anyone who gets Dick is a winner. Is the biggest winner. And the Clippers got Dick, and they're the biggest winner. But yeah, we
Sorry
are
na
gonna
lang sa
grade
mga
some
bata.
Oh, this podcast is not made for kids. So if you're watching this and you're a kid, dapat have some adult supervision. I'm talking about a player, ha. So yeah, we're gonna grade some grades, and rightfully so. I pointed out Grady Dick going to the LA Clippers because we're gonna talk about one of the biggest, and I would say one of the most surprising trades of this offseason. Kawhi Leonard going back to the place where he won a championship in Toronto, as they trade Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick and two unprotected first round picks in 2031 and 2033, and I think a pick swap and two second round picks for Kawhi Leonard to get him back in Toronto. We're going to grade each team based on what they got. So I'll start with you, Sammy. Grade the Clippers. Are they an A for getting Dick?
I'm giving the Clippers an A for this trade. Number one, they get rid of the headache of Kawhi. We don't even know kung ano mangyayari kay Kawhi and to the Clippers because of the aspiration investigation. It's still ongoing. There's still no decision. Maybe Kawhi can get suspended. I don't know. So it's good for the Clippers to get rid of an aging Kawhi. He played really well last season. He was really good last season. I think if you can say they sold high on Kawhi at this age, and given all the baggage that he has currently, getting more picks for the Clippers to help them rebuild, I think it's an A for the Clippers. At least you get rid of all the baggage of Kawhi. It helps you stock up your draft assets, which you traded a ton away when you got Kawhi and Paul George. 8 years ago? Hindi ko na maalala. So, this is a great U-turn, I guess, or change of strategy for the Clippers, starting with Zubac and Harden during the trade deadline, and now trading... I feel like it started with Paul George when the Clippers let go of Paul George, and then traded Harden and Zubac for picks and younger guys, and then now trading Kawhi for... I mean, Brandon Ingram is a younger guy, and Grady Dick is younger, and I would say Ingram is playable. We can talk more about... Obviously, Ingram is not Kawhi, but getting those picks, big win for the Clippers. On the other hand, do I talk about Toronto also, Gab, or you
Hey,
wanna
you
just
give
focus?
your grade for the Raptors.
Yeah, okay. On the other hand, for the Raptors, honestly, I I would say C plus. C plus for me. I would have given them a higher grade. So this is why I'm giving them a lower grade. Yesterday, I might have given them a higher grade only because Kawhi is definitely an upgrade over Brandon Ingram. He has good history with the Raptors. The 1 year he was there, they won a championship. Um, so I can imagine Kawhi and Scotty Barnes. Kawhi mentoring Scotty Barnes. I think that's interesting. That's exciting. I went down, so I would have given them maybe a B plus or B. I went down to C plus because I look at the picks that they gave up, and then I look at what Philadelphia gave up for Jaylen Brown. And I'm thinking, could they have gone for Jaylen Brown? Was there like a chance to get Jaylen Brown? Because they basically gave up the same number of picks, first round picks at least. So, uh, given what Philadelphia gave up for Jaylen Brown, parang I went down a little on the Kawhi trade. I would have wanted a younger guy because
And I think
may risk
reports
din.
were the Raptors were in on Jaylen Brown, di ba?
'Di ba? Oo. So, I don't know, baka ayaw lang ng Boston yung yung players that they were packaging for Jaylen Brown. That's a possibility, but there's a huge risk then for the Clippers. I think yung picks that they are trading to the Raptors are medyo late, 'di ba? Like 2033, 2031. At by then,
You meant
wala
the
na si
Raptors are trading
Kawhi.
to the Clippers.
Sorry, the Clippers are the Raptors are trading to the Clippers. So, by then wala na si Kawhi, so those could be valuable picks. So, may risk then from the Raptors side of things.
Maui, how would you grade the trade from both sides? From either side?
Yeah, I'll start with the Raptors since si Sammy talked about the Raptors. I would probably grade it a B or maybe closer to a B plus. The Raptors without that trade are will continue to be borderline playoff team. But getting Kawhi Leonard, I mean, who knows? Maybe they go on a miracle run and Kawhi hits a crazy buzzer beaters in the playoffs and they get another championship out of this. But yeah, I think this is more for the fan base of Toronto. They want a big name guy in Toronto, and they have a pretty young core with Scotty Barnes, Barrett, and quickly leading the way. I think they want to maximize their current lineup. I'd be interested to see what are their next moves because if you look at their bench, it's basically non-existent at this time, and they would need some level of depth to be able to compete in the playoffs. So I would look at the next moves of the Raptors. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give it a B. Definitely not an A because this is not the Kawhi Leonard from before. But I guess they were sold with Kawhi being able to play a lot of games the past 2 seasons. Let's see how it if it unfolds, how it unfolds for Toronto. But basically a win now move for Toronto. As Sammy mentioned, there are huge implications to this trade risk. The 2031 and 2030 picks, you don't know what will happen. Will Scotty Barnes still be in Toronto? Will Scotty Barnes become an All NBA player? Will they continue? Si Kawhi will definitely not be there. So will they be able to rebuild by 2031 and 2033? So that's gonna be uh, could be a big lottery win for the Clippers, especially for a team as Sammy mentioned. I'll go to the Clippers now. I'd probably grade this as an A for the Clippers because this is a team that could lose multiple draft picks if the Kawhi Leonard investigations go south. I mean, you don't know. Diba Minnesota before lost so many draft picks just to get Joe Smith. So they are at risk of potentially losing draft picks, and this move bolsters their lineup for the future. Having a pretty young core with Garland and Mathurin, who's an RFA, is a good thing for the Clippers. They can fully rebuild right now. And who would have thought, diba, that they were able to swing this type of package for Kawhi? I think once we get to the other trades later, there is a weird trend ongoing in the NBA. star players getting traded for pennies and mid-leveled or borderline all-stars getting traded for a boatload of picks. So, but yeah, I think this is a good move for the Clippers. I think their trade for Harden, their trade trading Harden and Zubac really signaled a full reset for this team, and I think they're in the right direction, getting all of those picks. And no, the top one of the top picks, diba, in this year's draft. So
Number
some
5.
luck for the Clippers.
Winner din si
Ako,
Ingram back in LA.
back in LA where he first started. Yeah, ako I'm giving the Clippers an A plus for this. Again, draft picks both unprotected in 2031 and 2033. Who knows what the Raptors will be by then? They'll definitely be without Kawhi Leonard. 2 second round picks as well to sweeten the deal. You end up swap. There's a good haul for a 35-year-old Kawhi Leonard who has a murky injury history. He was healthy last season, but the past couple of seasons he's been hurt all the time, and it's a plus also because again they got some dick, and who doesn't want some dick, some dick action, diba? So an additional shooter. I mean, he hasn't lived up to his lofty draft expectation, but an additional young guy that maybe the Clippers will want to develop. Brandon Ingram one, I think this is just purely
Salary matching.
yung salary matching. So the Clippers have to swallow I think the last 2 years of Brandon Ingram's huge deal. And I don't. If you look at the playoffs from last season, Brandon Ingram kind of choked, before he got injured in the Avs series, and he wasn't really up to the challenge of playoff basketball. And for the Raptors, that I think that's all you needed to see. You needed someone who was up to the challenge in the playoff. A plus because a 35-year-old aging superstar, and they got this haul for Kawhi, and a good pivot to the future, to a younger team that's still gonna be competitive. They're not tanking by any means. They still have talent. They're still gonna win games, whether they're a play-in team. They're probably just a play-in team, or they make it to a 7 seed or a 6 seed. That remains to be seen. It all depends on how Ty Lue you maximizes this talent. Yung Ty Lue is an excellent coach in maximizing the players that he has. He's always been good at that. So great move by the Clippers. I was amazed. Siguro yung only downside to this is they didn't take Jakob Poeltl. Para it will really be a deja vu trade. You remember when he was traded from the Spurs, the Raptors traded si Poeltl and si DeMar DeRozan. Sana they also included si Poeltl, diba? Para another mid-range shooting wing with Jakob Poeltl going to the other team for Kawhi Leonard. Diba? That would have been perfect. Perfect
You can't
storytelling.
make up this shit.
Oh, you really can't. So sana they include Poeltl, but that's one bad part of offering a big contract to Jakob Poeltl. You can't trade him that easily. I go to the Raptors. I'm actually giving a B plus, higher than the two of you. I think there's a good risk. I do. Now they struggled with injuries last season, but I do think that if they're healthy, they can be the top 4 of the East, and I think that's where you want to be, especially with what you saw from Scotty Barnes in the playoffs last season. I think it's a good bet to make on Kawhi. Kawhi, again, yung sabi nga ni Maui, this is not the Kawhi Leonard of 2019. He's still a good defender. He's better than Brandon Ingram, a much better defender than Brandon Ingram.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He rises up to the occasion. He's not afraid of crunch time. So he won't disappear like Brandon Ingram did in the playoffs. He's a big time performer if he makes it to the playoffs. Of course, that's a big if. And then you pair him with guys who can shoot also. See, RJ Barrett's become a capable shooter. See, Emmanuel quickly is ideally a good shooter from his time with the Knicks, a good catch and shoot shooter. Scotty Barnes is not really a shooter. It's the problem with me is gonna be Jakob Poeltl. They upgrade Jakob Poeltl to someone else? Uh, because he was unplayable in the playoffs last season. He was unhealthy last season with, I think, that back that
Back
bothered him
issues.
for
Yun yung
about. Yeah.
nakakatakot eh. Back issues pa.
Yep. So I think they're gonna be a top four team in the East. It depends because there are a lot of competitive teams now in the East, but I give this a B plus. The downsides are great, but the upside is great also. So I give them that. All right. On to our next big trade. And I think this shocked us. Well, not siguro hindi naman holy shit levels of shock, more of like wow, because of where this guy went to. Jaylen Brown going to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George and 2 first round
Former
picks and
Kawhi
2
teammate.
yes, a former Kawhi teammate and 2 second round picks. Siguro I'll go first. Siguro mag-reverse order muna tayo. I'm gonna go first to the Sixers. I think this is an A. A. Oh, for the Sixers. You turn unhealthy, aging Paul George into a younger, albeit more expensive, but healthy Jaylen Brown, who just had his best season of his career, All NBA, top scorer, I think, in the entire Eastern Conference, and you pair him with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, and a young VJ Edgecombe coming off a crazy rookie season. I think this is a no-brainer A. And if you're trying to maximize whatever years Joel Embiid has left, getting a guy like Jaylen Brown is the way to do it. Uh, I can't believe the Sixers pulled this off. I can't believe that they were able to get off Paul George and get MVP caliber player in Jaylen Brown to pair with Tyrese Maxey in the back on the perimeter, and to give the Sixers essentially some insurance in case Joel Embiid's health does not uh, live up to the entire season. I thought this was genius. I think it automatically makes not hindi naman siguro automatically semi automatically makes the Sixers into a top tier contender in the Eastern Conference, because I say semi automatically because it still depends on Joel Embiid's knees and if he can actually stay on the floor, because if Embiid there, they actually look pretty unstoppable. They have a inside out game that is unmatched in the NBA. But Joel Embiid is not there, they're easier to guard. But now with Jaylen Brown there, I think they can have someone who can take a 1A/1B option to Tyrese Maxey. Something that Paul George was not consistently giving Tyrese Maxey last season. He's expensive. Yes, Jaylen Brown is pretty expensive. That track is massive. But they were paying Paul George anyway, almost the same amount, nearly the same amount.
Yep.
See, Jaylen Brown is getting paid more, and he's gonna get paid a lot more in the next few seasons. But this is a good gamble. I can't believe the Sixers put this off, so I'm giving them an A. The Celtics, I'm giving them a D. From all because they put themselves in this position, and from all the reporting that was going on by insiders and even by the Celtics themselves, they had a ton of suitors. And it looks like all the offers were shit because they got such a shit offer such a shit return for Jaylen Brown coming off his best season. It, Paul George, 35 years old, way older than Jaylen Brown. Uh, two round, two or just one. I think one, and then one pick swap. Yung tama ba?
Two,
And
yeah. Two
diba?
first round
So
picks. Two first round picks, but yung isa could turn into a pick swap. Parang protected. So,
yeah,
could turn into a pick swap.
something like that. So it just screams to me like they really wanted Jaylen Brown, because if this is the best that they got, the best offer that they got from the rest of the NBA, it just screams that okay, there's we don't care. Just get rid of him, because he doesn't seem to want. It's either they hate Jaylen Brown or Jaylen Brown hates them, and he doesn't want to be there anymore. We don't know yet. There is something here that is not being said, because this is crazy that Jaylen Brown was traded for this little. Uh, you look at, and we'll get Walker Kessler. The Jazz got more for Walker Kessler than what the Celtics got for Jaylen Brown. That's wild. Now you can have excuses of the analytics that the Celtics are better without Jaylen Brown when he's on the bench. He's not an efficient scorer. He doesn't pass much. He doesn't make his teammates better. But he's still a top tier scorer. He was a Finals MVP, an Eastern Conference Finals MVP, if you count that. And he won a championship in Boston. We know Tatum and Brown work well together, and they've won together. But with this return, oh man, the Celtics look like they had no choice, or this was their best choice. Just trading Jaylen Brown for this, and it's sad that it came to the Tatum and Brown uh, tandem ended on this note, with him being traded after a career season. It's crazy to me, and they put themselves into this position because they put Jaylen Brown into trade discussions with you, openly put him in trade discussions with Giannis. And if you're Jaylen Brown, diba, I just had my best season without Jason Tatum, and you're still putting me in trade rumors and yung on the trade rock. Come on, that's got to be a slap in the face to Jaylen Brown, and I think the relationship had just soured so much between the Celtics and Jaylen Brown. D, total D. Maui. Sige. Sige, si Maui.
Maui.
Yeah. I think the move, but I'll start with the Sixers. I think the move by the Sixers is pretty smart. Regardless if Embiid is healthy, they have Edgecombe, they have Maxi, they can compete. I think that's what we've seen. And getting a player of the caliber of Brown, who's generally been healthy throughout his career, healthier than most stars have been, is a good thing. So I'll probably give them a B plus, because they were able to swing this trade for an aging Paul George, who has been unreliable. And if you want to maximize Joel Embiid's health, Embiid is 32. Diba? You can maximize both timelines by getting Jaylen Brown, who will be expiring in a few years. Maybe they can do a full reset when Embiid's father time catches up, when Embiid is close to retirement, when Jaylen
It's
Brown
crazy
does
that
not
he's
deserve.
only 32. It looks like he's around 36 and above already.
with the injury history. Yeah, so I think this is the Sixers playing both timelines, diba? Even when they are giving the 2031 pick and the swap in 2028, I think them having Maxi and them having Edgecombe, if they could retain both of them indefinitely, is a good thing for the Sixers. You don't want to be a low seed in the playoffs, in the Eastern Conference. You want to get home court advantage, and this move could be that move to ensure them getting home court advantage, even if Embiid is not there, because we know that Jaylen Brown is consistent. We know that Jaylen Brown can put up numbers. We know that Jaylen Brown can carry a team. But on the Celtic side, I would have to disagree with Gab. I would not give them a D. I would still give them a B. A bit lower than the grade of the Sixers. Maybe a C plus B. But I think si Brad Stevens knows what he's doing. Number one. Number two, I think the Celtics are playing it purely analytical. Yung basketball. If you've been watching the Celtics since they won the championship, they've been a team that has wanted to shoot a ton of three-pointers. So you know that this organization values analytics. And clearly the data shows that Jaylen Brown does not deserve a $50 million contract. Jaylen Brown has been a negative plus-minus for the Celtics for his whole career, despite the Celtics being a dominant team during those 10 years. Diba? You can argue that I think they've been in 4 conference finals. They've been to the finals. So the Celtics have been so successful, yet why does the numbers say that Jaylen Brown is still a net negative to this team? We know that Jaylen Brown is their clutch player. Tatum has not been as good as many have expected in the clutch. So that's a big argument for the value of Jaylen Brown. But I think with the current landscape of the NBA, I think the Sixers want financial flexibility. They want flexibility to make more moves.
The Celtics.
The Celtics want flexibility to be able to make moves earlier. Tatum is approaching 30. White is already 30. Pritchard is going to be approaching 30 soon. So their core has a smaller window than maybe the Sixers, who have Maxey and Edgecombe, who are younger than these guys. I think them getting Paul George, despite the whole league knowing that Jaylen Brown needs to be traded, I think is still a favorable deal for them, and getting some draft picks along the way. Plus getting that financial flexibility. Paul George will be a free agent in 2 seasons. Maybe if they are successful this year, maybe Paul George decides not to opt into that $50 million contract and sign a longer contract for $20 million a year. Who knows? So I think time will be at the ultimate truth teller, the ultimate basis if the Celtics made this move. But this could be the defining moment of Brad Stevens' career as an executive, in my opinion, because this trading Jaylen Brown, trading their 1B, I would say 1B player, not even 2, number 2 player, is a big risk. But I think this move is really analytics based, and a move towards addressing yung issues that a lot of teams are facing with the current CBA of the NBA. I think this allows them to get more flexibility if they need to make more moves, which is why I give them a B.
Sorry,
Sam.
nag-grade mo na ba yung Sixers?
Yes, B+.
Okay. Oo nga pala. Okay. Yeah, I mean, fair point. But I think I'm going with Gab on this. I'll go with the Celtics first, since that was the last one you talked about. I sort of agree with Gab. For me, it's still a D, just because of the way things were handled, I think. They kind of shot themselves on the foot by putting him out there for Giannis, and then being forced suddenly to trade Jaylen Brown. Gab talked about that. What I don't like about this trade also is they traded Jaylen Brown to the rivals within the same
I was gonna
conference.
say they're gonna meet 4 times.
4
next
times,
season.
yeah. Yeah, and the team that just beat them, that kicked them out of the playoffs in the last playoffs. So I think that's parang extra minus points for me. I give them minus points for that. Also, Jaylen Brown, this is extra motivation for Jaylen Brown, right? Because he got traded to the Sixers. He's going to see the Celtics 4 times. This is extra. I'm pretty sure he's encircling those dates, those games against Boston. So I think on that end, I have to ding the Celtics a bit more. So I'm going with a D also on this. Excuse me. But I also agree with what you said, Maui. This is definitely like a financial flexibility move for the Celtics. It the new aprons, the new rules is you cannot beat the new system because championship teams are forced to save money or forced to trade away key players because of the taxes and the penalties of the new apron, the new system. You've seen Mitchell Robinson leave New York, not even attempt to re-sign Mitchell Robinson because it's just too financially burdensome for them. For the Celtics, after winning the championship, the past 2 seasons they've been on saving mode, financially saving mode. Last season they traded away a bunch of their huge contracts, even though they were important players. And this season they traded away Jaylen Brown. So definitely agree with you, Maui. It's a financial flexibility move. In the long term, maybe it's good for them, but in the short term, it doesn't look good. I guess we'll see if it pays off in the end. I think for me, it also sucks because, as Gab mentioned, you'll see later, you'll see Danny Ainge, your former president and GM, getting 4 picks for a role player. We just talk about Kawhi Leonard, an aging superstar, get more or less the same number of picks for what they got for Jaylen Brown. That's why I'm giving them a D. On the other end, for the Sixers, I also agree with Gab. I'm giving them an A. Maybe even an A plus because, hindi, sige, A lang. A lang because Paul George was considered one of the worst contracts. They had 2 of the worst contracts in the NBA, Joel Embiid and Paul George, and they were able to flip that Paul George contract into Jaylen Brown plus picks, syempre. Paul George plus
Another
picks
bad
into
contract.
another bad contract but much younger and much more durable. But and then they just pay 1 extra year, diba? So I think I'll give them an A for that, just being able to get Jaylen Brown. You guys mentioned, I think the pairing with Edgecombe and Maxey looks good. If Joel Embiid can just stay healthy for the playoffs, kahit playoffs lang, diba? Because I think you've seen Jaylen Brown bring a team to the second seed. A team that does not have the same level of talent as the Sixers, he can bring to the second seed. You don't need Joel Embiid to play the entire season. This is a big win for Joel Embiid. He doesn't need to play for the entire season. You just need him to play for in the playoffs. Joel Embiid, kahit once a week ka lang maglaro, okay lang. just be ready for the playoffs. So I think this is a big win for the Sixers. But I do want to mention, I am giving someone an A+, and that's Daryl Morey. Shout out to Daryl Morey. Next level gaming. I thought the Paul George signing was bad. I thought that was a horrible contract, pero he probably saw this coming. Gab, you gave him an
Shut
A+.
up. No, he didn't.
Nung draft
No, he didn't.
nung draft episode natin. He signed Paul George knowing that he could get Jaylen Brown
Shut up.
a few years later.
No.
So, shout out, Daryl Morey. You are vindicated.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Yung Jared McCain, sige, pwede. Yung because he
Next level
he got a good-
gaming, Daryl Morey. Trust
a
the
good
process,
young guard.
Gab.
Sige, before we get to our next trade, I do want to have some points because this is a very interesting and a very big trade. One, okay, in defense of Paul George, he's not a bad player by any means. I mean, the Celtics are still gonna be competitive. I do think they're still gonna
As
make-
long as he's healthy.
Up-
Yun lang yung,
Yeah, as long as
I guess,
healthy,
there
and
is with
I-
George.
with the signing of Mitchell Robinson, a very capable center, depending of again, or if he's healthy, there's still a very capable bunch, and I think they're still gonna fight for a playoff seed. It it depends, of course, on a lot of things, but let's not act like Paul George is a bad player. I mean, he is still a pretty good player, and he's shown the ability to scale up and scale down his game. Diba? He was willing to be the third option here in Philly. He was previously a 1A 1B option, sometimes a number one option in LA. So and now I think he's back to being the number two option. I think he can scale up his game. He's still a pretty good defender despite his age. Very good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So I think he's a better shooter than Jaylen Brown. So
Mm-hmm.
I I think we're all just being
Without
a
a
little
doubt.
bit diba, with Paul George because he is 36 already. Si Jaylen Brown, I think, is still 29
Yeah.
or you,
29.
or something like that. Yeah. So he's still 29. So that makes the trade bad. But, Paul George is still a good player. He's not the Paul George of the past, who could flip up and down the court, was an athletic beast. He's still a pretty good player. So the Celtics are still going to be good. That's my point. Second, to Maui, I get the financial flexibility argument. I mean, Jalen Brown does have a big contract. But my thing is, are you willing to sacrifice another season of potentially being a title contender for financial flexibility? Because if you look back at the playoffs last season, they were up 3-1, and then Tatum got injured. I think we all forget about this. Tatum got injured.
Yep.
They were up 3-1, and Tatum didn't play again. And that's when the Sixers turned this around. So you could argue that if Tatum is back fully healthy and they got more capable centers and with still this young core with guys like Derek White and Peyton Pritchard still there, you giving them some shooting and secondary playmaking, they're still a contender in the East. I don't think they're still the same contender right now as they were with Jaylen Brown. They're definitely not. Jaylen Brown is a much better player now than Paul George. So I don't know if you're Jason Tatum. How do you see this? You were supposed to fight for a title. Now you're probably just gonna fight for playoff seeding with how the East is set up. And a low key winner for this trade. Up to my third point, the East Conference, because the East looks really competitive. I mean, if you look at the teams in the East, how many are actually bad? Barely any. It's good as just the Bulls, the Bucks, and probably the Nets are the bad teams. The other teams are all trying to compete. Diba? If you look at the Knicks, the Celtics, they're still gonna be good. The Sixers are trying.
Pacers.
The Sixers, the Heat, the Pacers are gonna be back with Tyrese back. The Hawks are still there.
Magic.
The Magic. The Wizards are gonna be competitive.
Question mark.
They didn't sign. Yeah, they didn't sign Trae Young and traded for Anthony Davis just to be in the lottery again. No, they didn't. They're trying to compete. The Hornets, despite trading LaMelo Ball, they're still trying to compete. I'm blanking on the other teams. Stay on.
Yun na. Yeah.
Who are the bad teams in the East? For me, it's just those three: the Bulls, the Nets, and the Bucks. The others,
Bucks, yeah.
they seem to be there. The Cavs are still gonna be there. Of course, depending if they get some LeBron action, they're still gonna compete, diba? So the Raptors who just got Kawhi, bakbakan ng East next season. So
Finally.
crazy, diba? The Eastern Conference is crazy, and I think you're Adam Silver. This is what you wanted. And parity and everyone trying to compete. No more tanking. Barely any tanking teams in the East. So that's all gonna change probably when the season goes on. We see teams lower in the standings. I don't know how they're gonna do that with the new tanking rules, but let's see. So, yun. Okay. On to our next trade. The other team that made a super star trade are the Memphis Grizzlies, as they sent Ja Morant to the Trailblazers for Jeremy Grant, Chris Murray, and that's it. Sige, Sammy, let's go to you first, as you were the last one. Grade the trade for Memphis and the Trailblazers.
I don't honestly, I don't know how to grade this. I think I'll give I want to give both a C plus or a B at most. I think they held
Lose
on
ba?
to lose eh. Siguro I think it's so weird because I feel like Memphis won the trade because they got rid of Ja Morant. The only thing
That's how I'm processing it as well. I
yeah.
think they sort of won this Memphis.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they won this trade because they got rid of Ja Morant. The only thing that I ding them, like the reason why I don't want to give them a higher grade is because they held on to him for too long. Should have traded him like a year ago. Maybe they could have gotten more for him. Ang daming nangyari kasing issues, 'di ba, with Ja just this past season on top of like all the guns and whatever issues he had in the past, but like yung what was that, yung game against New York na parang wala, he wasn't even taking it seriously, so it really just brought his trade value down. So I think that's why I hate this trade for Memphis, because they're trading him at his lowest point. But I also have to give them credit because they did not attach a pick or anything of value for this Ja Morant trade. So I think that's a huge win for them because if you look at the rumors, parang they were saying, ang sabi ni Brian Windhorst, flagrantly available si Ja Morant. They were saying all the teams were asking Memphis to attach a
Someone
pick.
take him.
Exactly,
Someone
'di ba?
take him, please.
So sige, fine. Because of that, because of what I'm shifting, B. Sige, B. Move them up a bit higher. For Portland, gets ko naman they're taking a flyer on Ja Morant. There's not a lot of risk. What I just find weird is you have a ton of guards in Portland. How are you going to fit Ja Morant with Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard's coming back? I mean, ang ganda na nung story na Damian Lillard is going to come back. Went back to the Blazers last year. People waited. The Blazers fans, they love this guy. Everybody loves this guy in Portland. They waited for one whole season to finally see Damian Lillard, and now they have Ja Morant. Those are two small guys. So, I don't know how they're gonna fit all the guards. Maybe they have another move lined up. Biglang trinade pala nila si Damian Lillard. No? That's why hindi pa ako makadecide sa Portland. So, for now, C+.
Maui.
Ako, Sam, completely opposite. I think it's a win-win move for both teams.
Glass half empty ako, ikaw half full.
Yeah, I think the Grizzlies, I grade them a B. A B is a win for me. I think the Grizzlies being able to reset fully without needing to really give up a lot of any assets to begin with. As you mentioned, no picks. The contract of Jeremy Grant will expire the same time as Ja Morant, but the headaches have expired the moment they made the trade. I think Memphis is now in a very good position to rebuild with their young guns. Cam Boozer, ED, Cedric Coward, and all the other guys. I would even say yung Aldama trade that they were able to swing that is pretty good for them. Just a full reset. Take out all the bad juju and replace it with all young guns. So I think Memphis did a pretty good job of letting go of Morant. I think there was no going back. No other team would probably take the risk of getting this headache, getting this nightmare of a Ja Morant. So far, I think Ja Morant fits perfectly with the Portland Jailblazers of the 2000s. Ja Morant, moving on to the Blazers, I think it's a low risk, high reward move for them. They need to pay Jeremy Grant almost the same salary as Morant anyways. And they want to play si Shadon Sharp more minutes, whose contract is going to bump up next season to 20 million plus a year. I think given that they don't have to pay Avdia for the next few years, given that I think this is a vote of no confidence on Scoot Henderson. If you were to probably name a negative from this deal, but much like the Memphis Grizzlies, I give them a C plus B, maybe a C plus for now, just because of the clog in the backcourt. I don't know if a team is still willing to get Holiday. A winning team could be willing to get Holiday, or we don't know what Damian Lillard could look like after an Achilles injury. So maybe there is also an added insurance for them. But the fact that they don't have to pay Klingan, they don't have to play Avdia, I think this is a good deal for them. By the time Morant's contract expires, if he doesn't pan out, maybe if not, he's not the franchise player that he was envisioned to be in Memphis. Maybe you can sign him to a more team-friendly contract, or maybe you could just let him go and use that money to sign Klingan and Avdia. I think this move is a good win now move for the Blazers without losing a lot of flexibility, because they really have to pay Jeremy Grant, and I think they've been trying to move this guy for a lot of seasons. If you guys play NBA fantasy like me and Gab, you know that Jeremy Grant does not play.
They should never have
50
signed
games
him
in
in
the
the
season.
first place, Maui. Yun yung problema nila eh.
That's true. Diba? So if you play fantasy basketball, you know that when the 50-game mark of the NBA comes, Jeremy Grant will mysteriously have illnesses, soreness, injury. So I think that this is the right move, because they don't know what to do with Jeremy Grant anymore. Not now that they have Avdia, who looks like who is an all-star, who was an all-star this season. So if Ja Morant continues on this track, then just let him go. Diba? I mean, it's like letting go of Jeremy Grant, who I don't think they need anymore in the first place. But
By the
definitely
way,
not a high grade.
yeah.
Diba? Definitely not an A or a B plus. A C plus or B if I'm being optimistic.
Yeah, so same grade tayo. You just looked at the positives, Maui. I looked at the negatives. By the way, I like Jeremy Grant for Memphis. Good veteran mentor for the young guys. Kesa naman si Ja Morant, diba?
Memphis is experienced naman with faking injuries eh. They've done it before. So Jeremy Grant no stranger to that as well. So bagay sila, bagay. Ako B for Memphis, incomplete for the Portland Trailblazers. I'll go to Memphis since
Agree.
I'm just gonna repeat what two of you guys said. They wanted Ja Morant gone. I mean, if you followed them all of last season, there was so much toxicity around Memphis and Ja Morant, and even the most avid Ja Morant fans in Memphis started to turn on Ja Morant because he even turned on the fans. Diba? Si Ja Morant even turned on the fans of Memphis, and yeah, even I think when they were playing in Germany, he didn't want to play in the first game, despite him being the headliner there. He was checked out for a lot of games. He was suspended multiple times, both by the team and by the NBA.
Crazy.
It was a miracle that Memphis found someone willing to take Ja Morant. It's honestly a miracle. I think they've been trying to trade him for so long already. And siguro the funny thing here, if you asked me, or if you asked anyone like 3 to 4 years ago, who among Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson, and Ja Morant would get the least package, the least valuable package in a trade?
Baliktad. Yung tatlo.
I don't think you would go with Desmond Bain as being the best value. I think Ja Morant would be your best value in a trade. You given how, but he was being touted as the future of the league, most exciting player to watch. The Grizzlies are next, And now it's come to this, man. He was traded for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray and nothing else. Yes, I mean, we'll go ahead.
No, no, that's a good point, no? Yung ano, like comparing yung trade value ni Ja, Bane and Jack Shaw, Triple J. Alam mo, honestly, like Dylan Brooks might get a better package than Ja Morant right now because he helped out Phoenix, you know, he's a
And Houston.
and Houston, diba? So he's a positive if you're a winning team.
Yep. And yeah. So yun, that's on Memphis side. For the Blazers side, there's an incomplete because this cannot be their lineup for next season because this does not make sense at all. You have Ja
Security
Morant
guard.
who need yun ang Maui. Okay lang kung maraming guards but they function differently. They have guards who function the same way. Ja Morant, he needs the ball. Damian Lillard, he needs the ball.
Mhm.
Then they have functioned a lot as forward slash point guard, a big point guard last season. He needs the ball. Drew Holiday can play off the ball a little bit. Shaden Sharp, he needs the ball. Scoot Henderson hasn't shown any off-ball skills. He needs the ball. I mean, this team does not make sense at all. So this cannot be their lineup for next season. They have to make more moves. And by all the things, like they're in on Jaylen Brown, they've now lost in that sweepstake, in those sweepstakes. So they have to pivot somewhere else. I don't know what their next move is gonna be, but this cannot be their lineup for next season. I don't know how this is gonna work. They said they were gonna start Dame and Ja together. That's gonna be a terrible defensive backcourt. So I don't know how you're gonna deal with that. It does not make sense. And who you're starting beside them? Are you starting Denny? Are you starting Tumani Kamara? Are you starting who? Uh, it's just crazy. I don't get it. So to be seen pa. To be decided later kung ano yung grade ko sa Blazers ato. I get the buying low on and I get the high risk the low risk high reward scenario on Ja Morant if he can be a star again, but you know the overall roster does not make sense. Okay, to our last trade. Wow, we're going long, but there are a lot of things happening. So our last trade and something that I really want to talk about and just popped in my morning notifications when I woke up. The Lakers traded for Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz, essentially giving him a 4-year, $130 million contract in exchange for 2 unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, plus first-round pick swaps in 2028 and 2030. I'm gonna go first since I think I'm the only Laker fan left of this trio. Since wala si LeBron, si Maui's gone.
Kami determined
Laker
pa.
fan.
Kami determined kung si LeBron manggulat.
Oh, si Sammy balimbing yan. I don't think he's gonna be a Laker fan anytime soon again. So I think I'm the only Laker fan left. So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go from the Jazz side. This is plus. How was Danny Ainge able to
Danny
swindle
Ainge magic.
How was he able to swindle Rob Palenka in getting him to trade their only remaining first round draft assets for the next 7 years? The Lakers have emptied their draft cupboard essentially with this trade. How were they like? By all accounts and by all the reporting, the Jazz were not willing to give Walker Kessler a big contract or the money he wanted. So essentially, nag-bluff lang si Danny Ainge because the Lakers could have offered an offer sheet, signed Kessler to an offer sheet, and just dared the Jazz to sign. Siguro sabi ni Danny Ainge, you can offer, we'll match. So just trade him if you don't want us to match. And by all means, it worked. they swindled the Lakers into giving them their draft assets for the very far future. Who knows if Luka and Austin Reeves will still be there? Diba? Who knows how the Lakers will be in 2031 and 2033? This is absolutely crazy that the Utah Jazz got this from the Lakers for Walker Kessler. Now I'll go to the Lakers now. You traded all this for Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler. I get it. Okay, let's. I'm trying to make sense of it from as a Lakers fan. Trying to make sense. Of course, Luka wanted a center. He wanted a rim running center and a defensive center. Okay? This makes sense. Si Walker Kessler is a great rim protection. Great rim protector. Better than the Andre Ayton who's coming back, who they gave a player option to. So yeah, I get it from roster fit. I get it from a defensive standpoint. He's a much better center than the much better defender than the Andre Ayton. He's a better rebounder. He's a great offensive rebounder. He's a better rim runner. I get it. He started to shoot threes before he got injured last season in his 5 games, and even the season before that, he already started trying to shoot threes. So maybe he could develop that in his game. So I get the roster fit, but this massive overpay on 2 fronts. One, the contract you gave him, 4 years, 130. That's like 20% of the cap of the current salary cap. You gave it to Walker Kessler, who's never been healthy, who is a very limited offensive player so far. As of now, he's a very limited offensive player. And he hasn't won. Yeah, he hasn't been in the playoffs. Give him such a massive contract. This is crazy that Walker Kessler is getting this amount of money.
Diyan naman daw si Ayton eh.
Domination. Visit Kamawi mo yung porkit ng iba na ng team, ha? But yeah, this is, and also an overpay for the amount of draft assets they gave up. They have basically traded away their future. The Kessler, Doncic, and Reeves has to work out because they have no other options for the future. If it doesn't work out, they're gonna have to trade Luka to someplace else to get draft compensation back, because this is just crazy. Massive overpay for a guy who is unproven, for a guy who's often injured, for a guy who's very limited. Again, Maui, if you play fantasy basketball, see, Walker Kessler is basically just a 2-stat guy. You 3-stat guy. He gets rebounds, he gets blocks, and gets good field goal percentage. That's it. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't pass the ball. He does not score a lot. I get the
fit. Shot na siya last year in 4
Maui, he's trying, but we don't know if that's going to be a consistent part of his game. If that does become a consistent part of his game, that's a big win for LA. But right now, it's not. They're a big bet on Walker Kessler. He has to work out because they have no other choice. If he works out, there's that's high reward. But if he's playing off the floor because he can't defend on the perimeter in the playoffs, if he gets played off the floor, it's gonna look really bad. Because again, they traded away everything, their future for Walker Kessler. It seemed by all reporting they were also looking at Jaylen. It looks like siguro yung sabi ng Pistons we're gonna match anything that you offer him. So maybe LA was out on that one. But man, this is wild. This is an F for me. And I'm a big Lakers fan. I've been a long time Lakers fan. This is an F. F is hard. D, because there is some upside to Walker Kessler. If you can outperform this contract, and I don't know that he does, but if by a slim chance outperform this contract, maybe this looks good. But as of right now, it does not. And you add to that the other contracts they gave away just today. Like Mau, I mean, he had a good
signing
season.
Spree. Like shopping spree, si Rob Pelinka in 30 minutes.
Diba? I love Mamu. I mean, yes, he had a good season last season, but who was giving Mamu 4 years at $52 million with a player option? Who were they bidding against? Diba? Who?
Barangay Hinebra Gin Kings.
Sino nag-offer kay Sandro Mamukashvili ng 4 years with the player option at $52 million? That is crazy. I get the fit. He's a 6'9" forward who can shoot. Luka wants shooters, and he's a guy who can shoot. I get it. But 52 million for 4 years with the player option? What? Colin Sexton? 2 years with the player option. Who was giving Colin? I think Colin Sexton got 19 ata. Who was giving Colin Sexton $19 million for 2 years? Who? What? He's Colin Sexton. And the only signing that I really liked was Grimes. I think he can outperform the contract he was given. I've seen Grimes scale up and scale down on need the team. He can be a 3-and-D spot-up shooter. He's a great catch-and-shoot player. He's played with Luka before in Dallas. I think that's a sensible signing for me, yung kay Quentin Grimes. And he's young enough. The others, I just don't get it. I don't get Kessler. I don't get Mamu. I do not get Colin Sexton. What are you doing? And also, the other part, you're trading away every draft pick that you have, and you're signing all these guys and taking up cap space because you're one of the only teams who had cap space. Are you even contender? Are the Lakers even contenders? I don't think so.
Are they gonna beat the Spurs and the Thunder, basically?
Yun eh. You did all this, and I don't even think you're close to being contenders. This is crazy. I have felt like this since they traded for Russell Westbrook back in 2021, I think, or 2022. That was one of the craziest trades I've ever seen. This is another one. Can't believe this. Sige, I've ranted long enough. Maui, go ahead.
Maui.
Thank God I'm not a Lakers fan for now. But I'll go first with the Jazz, of course, because I will very straightforward naman with Utah. I think Utah won this trade. I think Danny Ainge is sprinkling magic again to his trades. I think this deserves an A+. Remember, they were able to get Jaren Jackson Jr. They have Ace Bailey. They have Lauri Markkanen. They have the front court that they need. Diba? They were able to get si Jackson Hayes and si Filipowski. I almost forgot about Filipowski. They have a front court.
Back also.
Nurkic din.
Si
Nurkic is
Nurkic.
back. Yeah.
He's probably gonna start.
Wala akong tiwala kay Nurkic, so I purposely did not say him. But yeah,
Big body.
They have enough, diba? They have enough that Walker Kessler is expendable. Yet somehow Danny Ainge was able to turn it into diamonds and golds that could really pay off in the future. Parang Boston Celtics circa 2010s ang dating, 2015 nung dating ni Danny Ainge with this trade. Another masterpiece by Danny Ainge. I think this deserves an A+, because Utah does not need Kessler, yet they were able to get all of these assets, diba, that could help them in the future. They could flip Nurkic, they could flip Markkanen if they want to fully reset. They have a pretty young core. Most of them are in their mid-20s to early 20s. Diba? So, getting all of these assets, diba? Much like the Thunder, I think Utah is moving much like the Thunder did maybe 5 years ago, 3 to 5 years ago. Diba? The Lakers, on the other hand, sige, I will give them a D. They are moving like how an NBA franchise would move in the early 2010s. Sign from free agency, trade your assets, do not rely on draft picks to have sustained excellence. With today's CBA in the NBA, it is inevitable for you to be to be a competitor in more than maybe 5 seasons if you don't draft well. Diba? I think that's something that all of these previous there's a reason why there have been no repeats the past 8 seasons. All of these teams have had to sacrifice a part of their rotation, a star player, much like the Celtics did with Brown because of the CBA. And with the Lakers not having any draft capital assets, I do not know how they can have sustained excellence with Luka. I've read online that will Luka Doncic be the first big name player to transfer to LA without winning a title? I think that is something that could be possible with these moves. Again, with the Kessler move, all of the moves that the Lakers make should be high reward because it's championship or bust for this franchise. Always has been, always will be. Especially if you have a big name player like Luka, a big name player like Kobe, a big name player like LeBron, it will be championship or bust. And as Gab mentioned, does these moves make them a championship contender? As you mentioned, Sam, I don't think so. Can they beat the Spurs right now? I think that remains to be. I think the answer to that is no. Right now, I do not know how it will all work. In the first place, how will Ayton work? Ayton does exercise his player option. What do they do with Ayton? Will Ayton be a cancer in the locker room, or will they be able to flip Ayton? Because I don't think si Ayton will start at power forward.
Twin
I don't
Tower.
I don't think Ayton is willing to be a backup center right now in the NBA. So that's something that they need to address. I don't think the Lakers have the front court depth. Also, they lost Rui. They lost LeBron. I think if you look at the depth chart right now, Jake LaRivia and Vanderbilt are slated
Vanderbilt.
to start at small forward and power forward. If you call that a contender in the Western Conference, I'd say that you're crazy. I don't know if si Sexton was a good use of that 18 million contract. One of Gab's favorite players signed a similar contract with the Nets, Keon Ellis, who's a 3 and D, who's more fitted with players like Luka and Austin Reeves. So I don't know. I think much like Gab, I'm optimistic that si Mamu could be a good fit as a stretch 4 or 5 for the Lakers. I like the intensity that Mamu brings. He rebounds the ball at a high rate. So maybe he could be a big plus. I think the signing of Quentin Grimes could potentially be a good signing. Grimes could be a 6th man of the year candidate for the Lakers. And he could be a good replacement to Austin Reeves or Luka when they get injured. Grimes has been a proven player who could scale up when he gets the usage. So, but the Kessler deal, I don't know. They should have made this deal when they had LeBron and Anthony Davis a few seasons. They should have went all in. But now they're going all in when the other teams already have so much assets to play with. The Spurs and the Thunder have endless assets and could continue to get better in the coming years. So I don't know how the Lakers will be able to match up with that. So with that said, I think it's a D or even an F as of the moment. If Kessler plays 70 games, then maybe this deal could be a B.
I agree. I have to give this a D. I have to give this a D. That's the highest I can go right now. I think
Have you
na-mention yun na.
exited the Lakers fandom because of this trade, Sammy? Yun ang gusto kong malaman.
I exited when LeBron exited. But pero it still hurts me, Gab, kasi I was a Lakers fan for what? Ilang years ba si LeBron? 8 years. And kahit nawala na si LeBron, ang sakit pa rin because is this okay.
Uy, may LeBron pa rin sa LA. Si Bronny nandun pa. Oh, there's a LeBron James Jr.
Tama
You
dyan.
can still be a fan.
Tama
Kaya
dyan.
pala hindi kinuha si Keon Ellis.
That's a good
Siya daw yung
point.
Keon Ellis nila, Gab.
Siya yung Keon Ellis nila.
Siya sana lang, oh.
I think when the Lakers got Luka Doncic, this was the big parang free agency that the Lakers were waiting for na. All our contracts are going to expire. We're going to have a ton of money. we're going to build the team around you, Luka. Just be patient. That's why they didn't want to trade for long-term contracts the past season and a half. Um, and this is what you get. You overpay for Walker Kessler. You overpay his contract. You overpay by trading your entire future for Walker Kessler. You get a bunch of contracts that you also overpaid for. You guys talked about it. And here's the thing. If you think about it, tingnan mo yung mga contracts ni Mamu, ni Sexton, even ni Grimes. Na they're tradable actually. Hindi naman sila ganun kalaki in today's salary contracts with given the contracts of
But they're long
today. But
and
they're long.
guaranteed.
Wait lang, they're long, they're guaranteed. And here's the thing. How do you get rid of non-positive contracts, neutral to negative contracts? You get rid of them by trading them with picks, which you do not have anymore. So, how can you get rid of these long guaranteed contracts if you do not have picks to get rid of? Maganda yung sinabi mo, Maui. Grimes could be a good replacement for Austin or Luka when they're gone. People were also saying, if they wanna, sort of rebuild or reshape this roster, maybe in 2 years, 3 years, they could trade Austin Reeves. But there's also a risk there. Parang, are people gonna trade for an expensive Austin Reeves if he doesn't pan out or he never becomes an all-star? You also have to attach a pick to that to maybe trade Austin Reeves for like a bona fide superstar. Again, you do not have a pick to trade. That's so crazy for me. Parang you held on to those picks and you just end to the money, to the expiring contracts, and this is what you ended up with. Sana nag-all out na sila last season or last free agency. They were actually good. They were like number 3 this season. If they had gone all out and traded their picks, I don't know where they could have been, if they made it. But this is just crazy for me. One thing though, I also have to mention, naalala ko to trade deadline, there were rumors na before the Pacers traded for Zubac, they were trying to get Kessler for 2 first-round picks and the Jazz said no. Dapat dun pa lang yung signal na parang, oh shit, parang Walker Kessler is going to be very expensive. Also, the Lakers should have just kept Zubac in the first place. The guy that they let go for nothing was traded for like 2 picks, I think, 2 first-round picks.
Mike Muscala.
For Muscala. For Mike Muscala. This is crazy. I feel like Rob Pelinka presented to LeBron the plan. Sabi niya, LeBron, here's the plan. What do you think? And LeBron's like, I'm out. I'm out. Holy shit, I'm out. Sige na. Gawin mo na yung plan na yan. I'm out. Yeah, I hate this for the Lakers. For Utah, A+. Danny Ainge. Never trade with Danny Ainge. Don't make a deal with the devil. This is not looking good. I really hope Walker Kessler is healthy and can develop that 3-point shot because otherwise, this sucks.
Parang binili mo si Brook Lopez nang wala pang 3-point shot.
Na hindi ka pa sure.
Once upon a time, Brook Lopez was a Laker. And
That's
they let
true.
him go. They didn't sign him back.
So I hope Walker Kessler turns into Brook Lopez because he could turn into Timofey Mozgov or Chris Kaman. Those other big white centers that they tried to get before. So I hope Brook Lopez.
Just as a aside, are we gonna have on opening night the first all-white starting 5 in the NBA in a long time? Like they could start Kessler, Mamu, Jake LaRavia with Reeves and Doncic. Imagine
Snow
that.
time Lakers nga daw eh.
The snow time. This is gonna be the whitest team in the NBA. The Los Angeles Lakers.
Time Lakers. Oh my God.
Okay, we're past an hour already. Long past an hour. We did have another segment. Siguro, just since there were a ton of signings, can Can you guys just name some signings or maybe a team that you hated their moves or you love their moves? Sige, Sammy, you go first. Because you were the last one to speak a while ago.
Okay. So, sakto. Kasi I want to bring this up because it's related to the Lakers. So, they got Walker Kessler, who's technically a signing and also a trade. Uh, Parang, I saw the Mitchell Robinson signing for Boston. Mitchell Robinson for 3 years, 47 million. I'm not sure kung how much of that is guaranteed. I'd rather have Mitchell Robinson for 3 years and roughly
I'd rather
15
have
million.
Robert Williams for 3 years and 44.
I like the I also had Robert Williams, Gab. Another one that I listed down, puro cheap big men yung linis ko na signings that I love. Mark Williams, the guy that they returned to the Charlotte Hornets 3 years 38. Would you rather have Walker Kessler at what they got? Basically, would you rather have Walker Kessler at 130 plus million or Mark Williams at like roughly 45 million plus 3 first round picks? Because technically you gave up 1 first round pick for Mark Williams, diba? So you get to keep 3 first round picks and you get Mark Williams for 38 million. I'd rather have that. So yun yung mga picks na pinili ko. A bunch of bigs that are less than 50 million for like 3 or 4 years. I'd rather have any of them than
Yep.
what they traded for
Wh-
Walker Kessler.
Who was giving Walker Kessler 30 million a year anyway? Diba? Sino team yung bibigay nun kay Walker Kessler? Anyway, sige. What other signings did you hate or love? Maui or sige. Summer
No,
Maui.
Maui.
Ano?
Maui, go.
Yeah, I like the signing of Collins by the Pistons and Powell sa Bulls because I think the Powell signing is to prevent the Bulls from tanking completely. I think them signing these two guys were signed for 2 or 3 year contracts, but only the first year is guaranteed. I think those are both smart moves for this franchise. Remember, the Pistons just lost Tobias Harris also to the Spurs. So signing Collins is, I think, a great move because he's a lob threat also that has a good outside shot. Very good pairing, I think, with Cade Cunningham. Even better than maybe Tobias Harris. Collins is also a known guy who could scale up. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. But what makes me like the signing is that it's only guaranteed for 1 season.
1 year, right? Yeah. I love
So
that pick na. Yeah.
they have the flexibility to reset again the following season, which should be the case when you have a star player. Diba? It's not supposed to be 4 years for 100, how much? 140 million all in plus picks. Diba? I think the Pistons having the same flexibility. And I think the Pistons are pioneers in this move because they did the same contract with Duncan Robinson, who is in the rumors as potentially being waived but not yet sure. This I think is a new trend in the NBA. Even the contract of Porzingis
I
with Golden State is right now like that. They can waive him before a deadline within the season. So I think that this is gonna be a recurring trend. I think this sucks for the middle market in the NBA. I think because of the new restrictions of the CBA, we'll be seeing more contracts like this. I'm interested to see how it develops for the Supermax guys. Will we see them get less guaranteed money but more money upfront? I think that's something to watch out for. I think a lot of the RFAs were still able to get guaranteed contracts, but I think this is a trend that could be a big thing in the NBA moving forward, which is why I love these deals.
Yeah, you mentioned yung Collins trade. I was gonna also mention yung Kristaps signing. I love that. Yung parang hedge siya, no? Like they can just keep Kristaps or like get rid of him easily. May high risk Kristaps, I guess that's why Kristaps and his agent also agreed to that. Given yung injury history niya. I love that signing for the Warriors. Very smart actually.
Okay, I'll go first to the signings I I hated. And
Lahat ng
I'll
Lakers
go.
signings.
We've talked about that, but there's still it's not really a signing, but a trade. The Kings sending
Kangs.
essentially dumping Devin Carter to the Hawks and attaching a second round pick to dump Devin Carter, who's on
Sila ba
his
nagbigay ng pick?
yeah, they attached a second round pick
Sila!
to
Nag-salary
trade
dump.
Devin Carter to the Hawks. Their lottery pick from 2 years ago, who they haven't played. They're still on this rookie scale deal, and they're attaching a pick to get rid of him. And I think they traded him because Zach Levine opted in to his 49 million player option. So they were getting
Yan
expensive.
ang worst
when they had-
contract, Sam.
Diba?
If you
That's
talk
true.
about the worst contract in the NBA.
They had to dump salary, essentially their previous lottery pick, to get to just to account for Zach Levine's player option. That is such a Kings move. They didn't even see what Devin Carter had. I mean, they barely played him. He's only in his third season. You might have won. Diba? You could have signed. You could have given him a second contract for a cheap, yung on the cheap, just to keep him and see what he has. Instead, you attach a pick to get rid of him. Are you what? That is just abominable. That is such stupidity by the Kings.
Allergic yung Kings to drafting guards. They want to trade them. So Darius,
Diba?
take note.
Diba?
Take note.
It's crazy. And they re-signed Precious Achua. Like, I'm sorry, but have you watched Precious Achua? He's not good. He's one of the more painful players to watch because he can't shoot, but he tries to shoot.
Fantasy good.
Diba? He tries to go one-on-one, but he's not really good at it. I mean, I don't get it. Like, again, who are they bidding against? Who was offering Precious Achua 11.5 million for 2 years? Who? This guy was unsigned last season. Remember, before the Kings, you picked him up. So clearly, no one wants him. So why are you giving him a 2-year contract for 11.5 million? I don't. I know it's a small contract, but still, really, him? I don't get it. Another one for the Pistons, and I know Maui like the Pistons pickup of John Collins. The Kevin Herter one is mind-boggling to me. Like, they didn't even play him. They trade for him. They didn't even play him, and then
In
they
the
signed him
playoffs.
to a 3-year contract. I don't get that at all. Like, you could have used
Luke Kennard na lang sana.
yeah, who was previously there, by the way. I think he started his career there. But yeah, the Pistons, Maui liked the deal, but I think they're gonna miss Tobias Harris because it was painfully obvious in the playoffs what they obviously need. They need another playmaker. They need a guy who can create shots. See, Tobias Harris was that second guy, and he was actually pretty good for a majority of the Pistons' playoff run. And now they lose him, and they have not replaced him with a lot of playmaking. Honestly, Jaylen Duren is still a question mark. Who knows if he's gonna return? John Collins, if this was the John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks days who did scale up his game, then yes, I would be happy to have John Collins. But sabi nga now, it's a low risk deal, but he doesn't address the need that they painfully should have addressed. They need a second playmaker. I don't think they're done. They shouldn't be done because they have downgraded their roster, in my opinion.
I was hoping si Powell would go there.
Yeah, I was hoping si Norman Powell might go there. He provides shooting, some secondary playmaking. I thought he would have been a good get. Other signings that I like that maybe the Lakers should have gotten. Dayron Sharp to the Nets. I thought Dayron Sharp is someone I've liked pretty I've liked for a pretty long time. And if you played fantasy basketball, you like your Dayron Sharp because he piles up numbers. But I think this is a good low risk and a very cheap contract to sign him back. Probably to start, who knows? But I like that signing for the Nets. Vooch, I actually like Vooch going back to Orlando. Just
Where it,
piling.
hindi, where it all began, pero hindi, nag-Sixers pala siya for the first year.
Sixers siya. So I think this has definitively made the Orlando Magic the winners of the Vooch trade many years ago, because Vooch ended up back in Orlando with Wendell Carter, who he was traded for, and I like the fit, because what do the Magic desperately need? Offense and shooting. What does Vooch do? He scores and makes outside shots, and even mid rangers. He provides offense. Doesn't provide much defense, but if you're playing him 10 to 12 minutes a night, even 15, just to get points, I think that that's a big win for Orlando. I like the fit. I think he will slot in as the primary backup behind Wendell Carter, or maybe a third string center if Goga is gonna be their backup. So yun, those are the signings, the low key signings that I really loved, and the trades slash signings that I hated.
I like another big man that I forgot to mention. I actually like the Mo Wagner signing. Super cheap, low risk signing. I'd rather have Mo Wagner, another former Laker, on the Lakers.
Uy, grabe ka
May
naman,
question.
Mo Wagner over Kessler.
Wala akong give Mo Wagner and 4 picks and 110 million Maui in cash. I was gonna ask Gab, sino mas
Tim
malungkot?
Hardaway pala, yung pala. I love Tim Hardaway
Yeah,
yung going to
Tim
the
Hardaway.
Heat. I think that was a pretty smart get for Miami.
Bagay
Gusto
din
ni
sana
Giannis.
sa Lakers.
Oh,
That's-
diba?
that
I
was
think
so
we
good.
talked about this when Giannis was traded. They desperately need shooting, and
Shooting.
what does Tim Hardaway do? He shoots. The only question is he gonna wear his dad's retired number? Because he's worn it he's won the same number at every team he's been on. So is he gonna is his dad gonna allow it?
He should. He should. Sino mas malungkot today? Boston or Lakers fans?
I don't know. Probably Lakers fans, because their future is gone. Their future is the present. This present has to be the future. The Celtics, I think, have a brighter future, and they have
Brighter
more picks.
future.
So,
More picks. Yeah.
yun.
Makes
Anyway,
sense.
go ahead.
Yeah, yun
Younger
lang
core
naman.
din, yung Celtics. And I think the Lakers gave up potentially signing Peyton Watson, diba, who remains to be unsigned right now. That's something that they lost out when they also decided to go all in on Kessler.
What if si LeBron signs with Utah pala no? Troll. Biglang nag-Utah siya.
He
I
will
mean,
not
Utah's
go to
really
Utah.
good.
He will not go to Utah, Sam. Trust me. Utah is boring.
If he does, count that as one of the wildest moves ever. If LeBron goes to Utah.
So I think marami pang signings that we have to watch out for. I think Duren, you talked about Peyton Watson, couple of restricted free agents. We have
LeBron!
and then LeBron. I was gonna say a couple of restricted free agents plus LeBron. So we'll talk more about the free agent movements, possible trades soon. But please stay tuned. We'll do a ton of content the next few days. I think we'll have a couple of Gilas episodes. And then we'll go back to talking about the UAP, the Phil Oil. Apologies to everyone. We've taken a break from that, as you know why. So stay tuned for all of that. This has been a very long episode, but I had fun.
I had fun.
So
I'm
many
having
crazy
especially when the
trades.
Lakers came up. Oh my god, I was ready. That was therapeutic. I was ready to let out some steam, man. Oh my god, Lakers, what are you doing?
See you, Gab.
Bye, Cab. Taya, nagre-refresh lang ako. Baka lang may lumabas. Lakers trying to create room to re-sign Rui Hachimura. Okay, so that's the latest one that I saw. That's it for today's episode. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Ingat.